IntellectualRadio.com. Feed your brain. I'm starving!
Happy Thursday. This is Asia on America on IntellectualRadio.com. I am your host, Asia, with my ever handsome co-host, D-Rob.
Thank you, Asia.
Special guest, Miss Chandra McIntosh. Before we get off into our topic today, did everybody enjoy their holiday?
Absolutely.
That's what's up. That's what's up. What are some of the things you're thankful for this as we're going into this new decade? 2020 is a big deal. No, I thought when 2020 was coming that it was going to be flying cars and Rosie the robot. I mean, it kind of is. It kind of is. We do got it a little bit. But what are some of the things that you are thankful for? We're going to go ahead and start with you, our guest for the night.
Well, you know what? I would say one of the most important things that I'm thankful for is still having both of my parents alive, because
That's a very blessing. That's a great
a
blessing.
lot of people that I know don't.
I lost my mother years ago, so that's a
Sorry to
great.
hear that.
You know, continue.
And aside from that, I'm thankful for my children. I have two boys, 26 and 13, and they're doing really good.
That's
They're doing really
good.
good, and I really can't complain. I love my work family. I love my outside work family, and I'm blessed. Yeah.
What about you, D?
Oh, thankful. I'm thankful to be here. First and foremost, I'm thankful to wake up every morning and get the opportunity to do it over, do it better, improve. Everything else extends from that for me. You know what I mean? I want to continue to grow as a person, and every moment here gives me a chance to do that.
Okay, you got this Usher Raymond type of flow going on today.
Just trying to match up with you. You got on blue.
I guess so. Well, today we are talking about CBD oil. Is it just the oil, or before I jump into it, I don't want to just single it out because I know that it ranges in all type of forms. I'm familiar with CBD oil. I have a child with autism. He's 8 years old. So I give him that, not regular, you know. Even though I look like all crazy and of the world, I try to be holistic as possible with methods, to calm him down. So I'm very familiar with the oil. I give him drops, when he's having tantrums to calm him down, soothe him down. I know that with this inflection of marijuana, since it's been legalized in Illinois, that there's been an explosion of the products, edibles, oils, vapes. So if you could just go ahead and give us some background information about CBD, some of the advantages. Just go ahead and tell us what you do.
Okay,
You
so
speak up to the mic a little bit.
okay, let me scoot up a little bit. So, as far as CBD, right, it's definitely just not the oils, right? It's a plethora of different products. But I think to best present it, you need to talk about how it affects our body and how we interpret it. Because a lot of times people think that CBD is marijuana, and it's not.
Correct.
And so just to give a little bit of history about CBD, number one, CBD was cultivated over 10,000 years ago.
Really?
Over 10,000 years ago in a place that we now call Taiwan. But back 10,000 years ago, they probably called it that place over there. Because, naming continents and countries and stuff like that wasn't, important back in those days. But what happened was they found this plant and they started to cultivate it. And once they started to cultivate it, they saw that you had different things happening. And so with one of the things that was happening was you had these long, big, strong stalks that grew, and these stalks, were, just something that you could use for anything. They started using them for paper. They started using them for textile, clothing. I mean, just plastics, all types of things to, help civilization at that time.
So is this something, not sorry to interject, but is this something like hemp?
That is that part of the plant is
the
hemp.
Okay.
That part of the plant is the hemp. Whereas at the bottom of these plants, grew these little flowers. And these flowers, were very porous, and, in the humidity, they created this bud.
Okay.
Hence the word, right? Hence the word bud. And that part of the plant was the marijuana, or the THC portion of that plant. And so over years, what happened is they started to figure out that, okay, these aren't necessarily the same, even though they do come from the same plant, which is cannabis sativa. So long story short, and many years, like there was even a time in history in the United States where certain states, you were mandated to grow hemp. You were mandated. Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Virginia were mandated to grow hemp. So European settlers that came over from Europe were mandated to grow hemp because that was a part of our
cash crop.
Yeah, exactly.
So something like along tobacco.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And so from there, we get into politics and the government and, things that they want to regulate to a certain degree. And it's kind of gotten to the point where, we have to make a decision as a people, right? As a country, we have to make a decision, is this good or is it bad? What is it, for us or whatever. So in the 1800s, they determined that it was bad, right? It's a bad thing. It's associated with marijuana, which, for centuries has been used to get high. And now it's like, okay, but no, we have methods to separate the CBD from the THC in the sativa plant. And so that's what, we're embarking upon right now.
Okay. So how did you get into this? I don't want to say business because it is a business, because you do make money.
Industry.
It is an industry. But how did you get into this line of work? What attracted you to this?
Well, I mean, I'll be very honest.
Please do. We like honesty.
As, a connoisseur, in college and, things like that, I enjoyed the THC element of the plant. Had no idea what it was or where it came from. Really never did any research, never bothered to figure out, what it was that I was putting into my system, but now, as an adult, and with children and with parents and with family members who have ailments and things like that, it's just like, okay, well, wait a minute, there's this part of that plant that can actually help, people. And when you think about all of the research and the scientists that are way behind the scenes, these people are way behind the scenes doing serious research on this plant, on this element, this CBD element of that plant. And it's like, okay, let me look into it.
Exactly.
Let me see, what it is that this can, my people can benefit. My mother, she has epilepsy. And, I never knew that she suffered from it from the time she was 19 years old. I'm just learning that literally within the last week.
Are you serious?
I knew that she had epilepsy for the last, 10 years, but I didn't know that she suffered from it since she was 19 years old.
And how does she contain that? Because I know that's like seizures and, neurology issues.
Exactly.
How did she maintain that and hide? Well, I don't want to say hide it.
She
but
did. She said it. She said,
she did hit it. So how did she do that? I'm very curious to know.
The thing about it is, after a certain point, especially when it's not treated, either medicinally or, holistically, it comes to fruition. You see that, she had an episode where she fell and hit her head in the house by herself. Her doctor took her off of driving and, all types of things or whatever, which kind of forced her into an early retirement. But it's, one of those things where it's just like, okay, what is it that I can, help my mom with?
Of course.
What is it that I can help, one of my sorority sisters who, suffers from bronchitis? What is it that I can do to, help them, And so CBD just made sense.
How does CBD help with bronchitis? I'm very curious.
So let's talk about the endocannabinoidal system.
Okay.
And what that.
If you can just explain that. Endo cannibal.
Say cannibal.
$500 word.
Cannabidiol system.
That's a $500 word.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So we're born with that system,
Mm-hmm.
and it helps to fortify and develop our brains.
Okay.
And so, of course, we know that the brain helps to nourish and fortify all of the rest of our organs.
Correct.
And so, with that, what happens is when you have that, that word,
$500.
when you have that, system, it actually works to offset things like, it's kind of like your fight or flight system in your body, right? So you have that system that says, okay, am I going to fight this off, whether it's fear or anxiety or stress or whatever? You have this system internally that helps to fight that. And a lot of us don't know that we have that working for us in our system, but we do. And so with that, and that's that CBD that's inherently in us.
Really?
Yeah. It's inherently in our system.
You have something to say?
No, I'm just amazed about all this information because, like she said, we take for granted what we put in our body sometimes. I think this has been something that we used. As far as I know, my parents, I don't know about my grandparents, but my parents have used it. So this has been around in my family tree for like 50 years, but nobody's ever came and said, this is what it is exactly, or let's get some more information on it. And it's kind of scary, but I'm glad we're at a point where now we can, analyze it. So.
Yeah.
Do you think that with the surge of scientists, in the vaccine separating the THC from the CBD oil, that it has created this explosion of, I don't want to say designer marijuana, but so many different type of strains? If this has been a plant, you said, coming from Taiwan, and from the appears that Taiwan is the drug mecca because the poppy seed is from there, correct?
Exactly.
So, if it's been this plant for all these years, and I know that plants mutate and, have offsprings, and there's grandparent plants, heritage plants, etc. But with the influxion of so much marijuana, do you think that scientists are in the back lab creating these strains for profit? Because this is America. This is a capitalistic society. And now that we have this, they've legalized this, of course, do you feel as though they are doing different things to create different strains, and is that presents a possibility of doing more harm than good?
So, I mean, honestly, and you're asking me my personal opinion.
Yes, of course.
I'm no scientist. However, I do know a few things, and one of those is that a lot of the CBD products that are on the shelves are at the gas stations, are in Jewel, are in Walgreens, and things like that. You have to be very careful with what you purchase, because a lot of them say, this is, 80% CBD or 90% CBD or whatever percentage CBD. But if you actually look at the ingredients on the packaging, because you can't hide your ingredients.
Correct.
You have to show your ingredients.
Correct.
And if you know what you're looking at and you know what you're looking for, you know that's not the CBD that you're looking for, especially if you're looking for something to ail in pain or something to, aid in, other things.
So, Chandra, what should we be looking for if we are purchasing these things? Because as you said, it has a lot of things, it heals a lot of things. Possibly this could be something that could help. I mean, I don't like to, coin this term ADHD because, I know that people say that it's real. I, however, think that it is a manufactured term, to alienate Black boys. I really do. I know that, the brain is a sensitive and strong organ.
Absolutely.
And I know that there can be a lot of activity that can make you do things. And then there could be little activity that does not let you produce at your highest possibility. So I don't want to just say, but I'll just say for a term, with all of these mental and physical attributes, what should we be looking for in ingredients with CBD if we're looking for particular ailments?
What you should be looking for if you're going to use a CBD I don't care if it's a cookie or if it's a gummy or an oil or what have you. You should be looking for at least 80% CBD.
Yes.
And the reason why is because science has provided us with some great technology, right? And we're able to extract CBD from the cannabis sativa plant and separate it from the THC if that's not what you desire to have in your system. And even still, and you have to be careful because a lot of those, like I said, you can't hide your ingredient statement. You can't hide it. And so a lot of those ingredients or the components of that product will say that it has 0.09 THC.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they have to include what it is that could possibly be. Just like when I work in food manufacturing, and we have to say that this product may contain nuts.
Yeah,
exactly. So because if it's processed in the same facility,
allergies and
all of that stuff, you have to include that stuff.
So you've been talking about sativa. Is that a separate product in its own? Because I see that sometimes I see that listed too. So is that a separate part of the hemp plant as well?
Exactly. So, the hemp plant is that strong, robust plant part of the plant that I was talking about, and then the marijuana portion, or what we consider the marijuana portion of the plant, is the bushy and the flowery, portion of the plant that grows. With hemp and cannabis, well, I guess I can call it cannabis, and we use those terms interchangeably, so it's kind of difficult to try and distinguish which one is which. But when you extract the CBD from the THC, you have your CBD and then you have your THC. So some of those products are focused on CBD, and they don't have that psychoactive component where the THC does. And so that's, I don't know if I answered your question.
I mean, kind of, sort of. This is very fascinating because, like you said, we are all familiar with weed or whatever you want to call it, but we really don't know the backstory. A lot of people, I think, would assume that weed comes from Mexico. I've heard people say that. So
a lot of it does,
and that's crazy considering that it can. Does America still receive the plant from Taiwan? Do you know? You sound so informed.
Well, I'll tell you this: that America spends $500 million per month bringing over hemp and cannabis from areas all over the world.
And this is before it was allowed. A month?
A month.
And what are they doing with this money? How are we in debt? I mean, that's a separate question, but how are we in debt?
So this is what I'll say. I think that it's important to know that, there's a group of people, and it's a large group of people who regulate these types of things. And they're in control of, that form of cash. They're in control of that. And when it boils down to it, honestly, personally, I don't really care. Who it is and who's making money off of it. What I do know is that you have people that we know and we recognize. You got Jay-Z, you got Whoopi Goldberg, you have Willie Nelson, naturally.
Yeah, of course. Cheech and Chong. Snoop Dogg.
Snoop, it's one of those things where it's just like, okay, do I want to capitalize on what's happening right now? Because it's important. And not only do I want to capitalize on it, if it's going to help, my loved ones or people that I don't even know, I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to do that because that makes me feel good inside. That satisfies my inner, wealth, so to speak.
I get it.
But yeah.
So I saw on Facebook this alderman, I don't know his name, but he's politicking to, I think it's boycott these I don't know what they call
the companies coming into Chicago to open up
because they're the dispensaries because there's no people of color that are in these businesses. But I know that there's a lot of startup costs, like enormous startup costs to get involved in these dispensaries. Do you feel as though this would be an area that we can ever break into? Or is it something that we'll always still be clamoring from behind like we do with a lot of things?
So here's what I say, and then I mean this from the bottom of my heart.
Speak, girl.
Do you remember where you were when Google said, "Join me"?
I do.
Do you?
I don't.
I don't either.
The reason I remember because it was in a class. I was in class. It was a class we was having, and they was talking about the IPO, and it was great because the class was about. It wasn't necessarily about stocks, but we talked about it a lot, and they was talking about the initial public offering of that, and my teacher was talking about how he wanted to get in on that, and that's the only reason why I remember. And it's funny that you said that because I just had this conversation like a week ago with somebody about something totally different, but I do remember that. So so what you're saying is get in while the fire is hot, and you think anything is possible.
Exactly. And so to your point, when you said that, do you feel like, people of color or, black people will be clamoring trying to get in? You will be if you don't get in right now. Like right now, like the reason why I joined the business, the reason why I'm here today is because I think that it's important to let people know, the opportunity that's in front of you. I don't remember where I was when they were talking about it. I remember hearing about it, but I don't remember, and I don't even think that I care to even know what they were talking about. But right now, at 43 years old, I want to know. I want to know. I want to get in, and I want to be able to help. And if it's something that is helping people, like anytime somebody says, Google this or Google that, that's a name.
Yeah.
That's something that you can, say, hey, okay, do that. That's a verb. It's an action.
It is. It is.
And so that's where I'm at with CBD. It's an action. Yeah. It's time to move.
Well, that alderman, I like the movement that he has. He said, "Don't bring it into my neighborhood unless you're allowing the black people to invest or in ownership or whatever." And that's a great move. But I also read somewhere on, I think it was Channel 7 News.
Did you read it or did you watch it?
I read it on the page.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to understand.
But there was an African American lady, and she was speaking about certain startups pursuing people for money that were fraudulent.
Okay.
And in Chicago, and she was saying initially, of course, do your homework, but just hold off, pay attention, because there's a lot of fraud going around. People know that things are exploding for marijuana here in the States, and there are people just out here misrepresenting. So, do you know anything about that, or have you heard any?
I think that people are going to exploit anything that's popping.
This is true.
I mean, they are, and it's kind of like the beauty and the beast of the industry, because if you get in on the right side, you have gain and you're prosperous. But if you get in on the wrong side, we all know it ain't gonna last long.
Right.
It's not gonna last long.
Just like playing the stock market. It's just like playing the stock market. You might win, you might lose. So I see you have some things behind you.
I do.
If you want to go ahead and discuss.
So, okay, let me grab my stuff first. So first and foremost, I brought you all some wristbands.
Okay.
Who wants white or black?
I'll let him pick.
Black.
She's so nice.
She always got my back.
That's my guy. We a team.
So the business.
She's
looking for the fist bump. Hit the fist bump.
You're supposed to blow it with.
Okay.
Like Jazz and Will.
So the company that I have invested in is called HempWorks, and that's HEMPWORX, HempWorks, and we have a plethora of products, and this is 90% CBD.
Okay.
90% CBD and some other additives for whatever it is that you're trying to, help with.
Okay.
And so I didn't necessarily get into the cannabidiol system. And so the cannabidiol system basically helps to fortify all of those organs that the brain helps to support.
Okay.
Right. And so normally, our system helps to offset it naturally, right? That that thing, that endo system.
Something for me to research later, but keep on.
And you hit the little thing on Google, and it says say it, and then it says it, and it's just like I still can't. Right. But anyway, what happens is it naturally helps to, fortify our system. But when you reintroduce CBD into your system, it just further helps to enhance that system.
Mm.
The thing right now is what dosage is good, what dosage is, and so like, again, it's relatively new, but you do know what I do know is that these products help that system to re-enhance itself and elevate it. On the flip side of the other side of the plant, which is what I call it, the other side of the plant, which is the THC side of the plant, it actually combats that system.
I can see that. Because like I said, I have a child and I give him CBD oil, like I said, not frequently because of that other side. And I didn't know exactly what it was, but now that you said it, that is what it is. Because I'll give it to him and, he'll calm down, but then like he'll have spurts of instability, irritability, but then he'll calm down. And then it'll start again. And I didn't know exactly what it was. Like I do my research, but whatever that system is, that's obviously what it is. Because he'll be calm and then he'll have like those little back and forth little things. So I was wondering, like, is the dosage too high? But now that you're saying it, that's exactly what it is.
And you never know, because a lot of scientists say that you should, if you're going to try and enhance your, CBD system, is to have 300 milligrams per day.
See, I don't give it to him daily because I'm just researching. This is a new thing to me too. Like I said, I'm not going to put him on any pharmaceutical medicine. I'm very anti-farm.
Me too. Me too.
If you let me tell it, chemo killed my mom, if you want to let me tell it. Okay. So I'm very anti-farm. I'm anti-vaccine. I mean, I know this is not the place, but this is just how I'm rolling. No flu shot for me either. I'm signing waivers for no vaccines for my children when I was younger. And, I let doctors force me into those things because, that's quote unquote being a good parent. But as I got older and, starting to see like what is in these shots, and I stick to my guns, and I will argue the fact that MMR gave my child autism. I will stick to my guns. I will fight the fight. They might come get me one day. I might have said some key words, Chandra. I'm a fake anti-black. I'm a fake anti-America,
ain't
Black
no
Power.
Ain't no fake.
But I'm very strict on that. So when I'm doing my research, I'm looking for certain things. Like I said, you gave me a lot of insight. As I said, I'm going to do some research later on tonight about those things. So I didn't know that there's different strains to do different things. Now that I didn't know that you could do one for pain, for depression, for anxiety.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
What's the opposite of sativa?
The opposite?
Yeah, I know there's two. There's a sativa and a.
So there's a lot of different strains at this point. I mean, when I say a lot, I'm talking about probably hundreds at this point. A lot of different strains. And, like we're talking about, you have hybrids and they marry it with, just like in chemistry class, right? They marry it with this plant or, basil, who knows?
Yeah, of course. Sage.
Exactly. It really just depends. And so, scientists or the people who put it together call it this other name.
OG Bubblegum Kush.
Hello. Like really, I was watching a video not too long ago and how they created the purple cannabis sativa.
Okay.
Purple.
How did they do that?
Listen.
You gonna make me? I'm gonna be up all eyes. My eyes gonna be like Tom and Jerry in the morning watching this stuff.
I mean, and it's just, mixing with blueberries and, all types of different seeds and, stuff. And so they come up with these different strands. So there's hundreds of strands that, have been created over the years. And this is nothing new.
Right.
This is something that's been going on for a long time. And, we're just blessed to be amongst it.
Okay, so go ahead and just tell us what some of these products are.
So this is the HempWorks Relief Cream. And I love the story behind this because I was talking to an old employee of mine and, telling him about the business and, stuff like that. And, about the products. And he was like, oh my God. He said, Chandra, he said, I've been sending, he said, once a year, we go to Mexico to get this cream that's made from cannabis and bring it back to, the States because we can only get it in Mexico. He was like, and it's to help with pain, like topical, pain. Like if you have pain in your shoulder or your leg or your knees or whatever, he's like, we get this cream. And I was like, you don't got to go to Mexico no more.
I don't want to go to Mexico no more. You remember that?
Exactly. But, I'm like, you don't have to, go to Mexico. This relief cream, it's CBD and it has, some other additives that help with pain, but it's CBD and it's natural. 100% natural. All of the ingredients are natural, which is what I love about HempWorks, is because it's 100% natural. It's 100% organic, and so then you have sprays. Now we have a lot of different sprays. Now this one in particular is the Boost spray, and it's a health energy spray. So if you're like one of those people who likes to work out, and I'm not gonna open it. Who likes to work out and you want that boost of energy. It's a CBD spray. It's an oral spray, and it will give you a boost. When I say a boost, and then we also have a brain spray. So a lot of people, a lot of scientists use the brain spray, and doctors and stuff like that, and you'd be amazed at the types of careers and industries that people actually use CBD products. And it's not widely known, but it's an oral spray. Use that, the Boost or the brain spray, and it absolutely enhances whatever it is that you're looking to do. Now this is one of the oil drops, and so we have coconut, we have peppermint. This is the peppermint, and I haven't opened it yet because I'm being stingy. But this peppermint oil drop basically just fortifies your CBD system. It helps with everything.
So is that a daily drop?
It's a daily drop. And, some people can get a little overzealous with it and do a couple more drops than they probably should. But again, that's one of those things that helps to fortify that endocannabinoidal system. I think I said it right that time.
You did. You did.
And then here's my favorites. These are the gummies. The gummies, I gave, okay, so my mom was here for the holidays, and who I told you, suffers from epilepsy. And, she's constantly trying to remember things because with the rattling of seizures over years, it deteriorates your brain and it deteriorates your memory. I was talking to her one day and she couldn't remember what a highway was or an expressway was. And I'm just like, no, I can't do that. And so I gave her one the other day. And when I tell you, my mom sat for an hour and a half, and I could just see her mind working. And then after that hour and a half, she was talking, rhythmically, you know what I'm saying? Slowly. And, she knew what she was going to say next as opposed to beforehand. And so, and she was, like, I don't want to take no weed. I'm like, it's not weed. I was like, it's not weed. But these gummies are serious. Like, I'm a night owl and I have to get up early, for work. But when I take a gummy, I sleep like a baby.
Mm.
I sleep like a baby. It again, like I said, it just helps to fortify your natural CBD system.
So you said this CBD system that we have naturally.
Hmm.
What does that entail of? If do you know?
What do you mean?
Like I'm not familiar. Like what is a CBD system internally? What is it? Is it something within our blood, our veins, our nervous system? Like what is it?
So your endocannabinoidal system basically is created when you're conceived.
Mm-hmm.
And so with it helping with the development of your brain, it's
So it's everything. It's like a root.
it is. It is. And it fortifies your endocrine system, your muscular system, your skeletal system. It helps to fortify that. And a lot of doctors and things like that, they don't necessarily tell you that because when you say cannabinoidal or cannabidiol, people automatically associate it with cannabis. And so they automatically look at it as a drug, which, it was considered a Schedule 1 drug for many, many years. And then our very great president, Barack Obama, in 2014 said, no, it's not. It can be extracted from the cannabis sativa plant, and it can be used for medicinal purposes. He's the reason why we're able to have hemp farms go back up in the United States.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's the Farm Act or the something Farm Act. I can't remember the exact name of it. But yeah, he's the reason why we're able to reintroduce hemp farms in the United States.
Well, that would make sense about the $500 word and being all involved in everything because I'm a believer that we are all one of the universe. And if we're one of the universe and that's a plant and we're the fruit of the labor and the seeds and our eyes are the universe, it would definitely make sense that we
Absolutely.
are embedded with that type of,
Don't let me go deep.
go deep. Where your shovel? Because I'm one of those people.
But it's true though. Think about it. Like if this is something that is derived from the earth, it's a plant, right? But we also have it in our system.
That's what I'm thinking that's why I wanted to get some clarification. Like what exactly? But if you're saying it's from birth, that means that we're one of the earth.
Absolutely.
There's a natural connection.
That's a natural connection.
Absolutely. I mean the word as far as I know, the word earth is woman.
Where did you get that from? Where did that come from?
Okay.
Segue. We have a portion of our show is called Succotash.
Okay.
And Succotash, you know what Succotash is? American dish. Anything. So this is where we could talk about anything. It could be serious. It could be silly. It could be anything. Okay. So since you're a guest in our house, we're going to go ahead. What do you want to talk about? I want to get on that Earth is Woman stuff, but you can say whatever you want to talk about. But if you want to talk about that, you'll be good in my book, but you can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
No, it's your show. I'm good.
Where did you get that from? I've never heard that. Have you heard that, D?
I haven't. Seems I agree though. It seems natural. It seems like the right way, but I haven't.
So I just a little background on myself. I was very heavy into the poetry scene.
You look like it. I feel that energy from you. I do.
I was very heavy into the poetry scene, and so I got to meet a lot of enlightened, folk, right? And everybody ain't necessarily,
woke and sleep. They so woke they sleep.
Hello.
I know you mean.
But in conversations with people and in readings, right? Because you only know what you hear, but you see what you read, if that makes any sense.
Very much.
But and some of the readings that I read, the woman is earth. The woman is the fertilizer. And when you think about the woman whose womb is fertilized for creation, that woman is a representative of the earth. Because the woman is like land. You plant something in dirt, you plant something in land, it produces.
And our fallopian tubes and things are just like the insides of an apple.
Absolutely.
And, if we going deep.
Let's go.
So now when you say that, it would make sense that if they say that the black woman is quote unquote God, and the degradation of a black woman, if we're Earth, that would be to tear us down as we're tearing Earth down synonymously.
Better know it.
That made my man blow up. So if the world can, tear us down, tearing us down tears down civilization, tears down the foundation, tears down everything. Because my mother always told me, your man is as strong as you make him as a woman. So if you tear us down, you tear you down, and you tear the nation down, you tear down the world. Mm-hmm. Especially if we are the chosen people. That was
360 for you. That completed a circle.
I hear that. Where my water go?
Back behind you. That was deep. That was really deep. Did you like that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think I don't know where the word Earth came from.
I don't either.
But I always felt like,
research that.
Well, we always said Mother Earth.
Yeah. True,
right?
True.
You know what I mean? So, and she used to give her all life.
True, but we never like put it together. Like, now I'm gonna have to look up the root word. I know it's some Latin. Like, what is it? Because everything is quote unquote Latin. Right. Even though they came to Timbuktu and learned everything.
There you go.
Don't be letting these weaves and stuff fool y'all. I know stuff. I just be playing like it. But moving gears is still succotash. I want to talk about. I don't know what I want to talk about because it's so far left of what we're talking about. We're talking about some deep stuff. But I want to talk about these aggressive men on social media. What is up with that, D? Like, I know it's social. This is a social network. We're here to meet, mingle, and mix. But that don't mean just get on my nerves because you see something that you like or you read something that you may, feel. Why are you bothering me? And then, like, I'm single, Chandra, so I'm passing my phone number out like Tic Tac because I was in a 20-year relationship. So okay. I'm bored and stuff, and I'm funny, so I just like to do that. And you never know who you might meet. That's true. You might meet somebody who want to invest in you. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know who you'll meet. I pass my number out, so I'm passing my number out, and this guy's like on me. I'm like, yeah, I'm cute, but damn, I'm not that cute. Leave me alone. Like, what is up with this aggressiveness? Like, what is wrong? What's going on?
When you say aggressive, like, what do you mean?
Hey, how's your day? No, good morning. How you doing? A couple hours later. How's your day? I'm good. A couple hours later. Can I see you? Well, I got such and such, such to do. And I let men know in the gate, I have a son with autism. My time is very limited. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of men don't want to deal with that. So I don't even want to start something that's not going to go anywhere because my boys are paramount. I'm not putting them to the side for you and none of that. I just left a 20-year relationship. I don't feel like it. Why are you always calling? If I told you something to begin with, what do you want from me? What do you think is going to lead to? I'm just going to block you on everything. And now you're gone.
I'm going to let D answer that one.
I mean, it sounds to me like he's looking for opportunity like you were when you were passing your number out.
No, I'm passing my number out because I'm bored and I'm social. And I have a talk show.
I can do that.
I'm almost famous.
Well, Oprah need to stab me. So,
he doesn't do anything, and he's on the background. I'm sure he was not calling her every 5 minutes. I'm sure he was letting her build her empire.
Okay. I mean, I think social media is where everybody is aggressive. You can say what you want to say behind your keyboard.
Correct.
And then, if you get shot down, it's just online. It wasn't in person, So.
Are you dating Chandra?
I am in a relationship. I've been in a relationship for almost 12 years.
Oh wow! You don't want to get married? I'm not trying to be in your business, but I am a talk show host. I am a talk show host.
I think the possibility of that is strong. didn't want to for, a while, just because I don't want to disrupt what's cool,
Mm-hmm.
But, as you get older and, you think about things that you want to compartmentalize, it's like, okay, maybe that's something that, might be a good idea.
I think marriage kind of broke up what was going on with me. We were high school. Well, we didn't go to the same high school, but we were high school sweethearts. We dated for 17 years before we got married.
Mm.
And once we got married, everything changed. I had an expectation of things because personally, I'm not that girl who felt like I needed a husband to make anything something. We were living together. We had all our kids together. We progressed from apartment to this to that together. So I was not pressed. But once he asked me to marry him, I did feel there was some obligations that he needed to meet as a husband. And he fell short, and the things broke off. What was that all about?
It just sounded to me like you put expectations in a word, because you said you were making the progresses that you wanted to do, and then once he mentioned a word, that word gave heightened expectations.
Why would it not? It As your wife, she does not have expectations as a part to your spouse that you're living with. A living companion is the same as a wife.
As my lady in my eyes, yeah. So when you asked Chandra about getting married, I think when she said, what did you say? Compartmentalize. I can't never say that word. Compartmentalize things. It's about securing different things, funds, and different possessions, and being able to in certain ways that you can't. So you tie the names together. But past that, our relationship is our relationship. And I think when she said, try to not mess with something that's good, I feel like for myself, if we got something that's good, it's gonna be like a marriage, just not with the title. So the word, putting expectations on the word, is just like too much.
I wasn't putting expectations on the word. I was putting expectations in years. We were shacking up. That was not my husband. As a husband, I'm putting.
So they were not there initially when you were moving, and
they were. Let me finish. They were, but it was still a separation because he is he and I am. Once a man is my husband, he is the epitome. He is the lead, and I'm following him. So as I'm following you, you should be taking me somewhere positive. If I'm putting all this into you to say yes, I'm dropping my name to be yours because I'm essentially dropping everything that's of me to be your wife. I'm not bringing anything of myself. I'm dropping my name. I'm having your children. I'm being of you. I'm subservient to you as my husband. You should be leading and guiding in a way that is conducive for our union. And if you're not stepping up to your responsibility. Miss Poa Chandra, do you feel me?
To a certain extent.
Okay. Go ahead, explain.
To a certain degree. And the reason why I say that, I mean, and I was raised in a church, right? And I feel like, and I know I'm trying to sound like everybody's pastor on Sunday morning.
Say it.
But if God is not the forefront of that household or for that man, that's to me the most important thing, for God to be, even if, and I'll say this, my father, who my mom and my dad were married for probably 4 or 5 years or something like that, as a kid. But my dad, once he married again, he was the one that made me get up and go to church. His wife didn't necessarily want to go to church every Sunday morning or whatever. He was the one that made that happen. And they were together for 28 years. And then after, they dissolved their marriage, it was one of those things where it's just like, okay, having witnessed that, to me, that's really important for that man to know that if he wants to have a wife and if he wants to, be the head of his household, not just for tax purposes,
Right.
then he needs to have God in the center of that family. And if he doesn't, it's to me, like I said, I grew up in a church. So to me, it's almost like a broken cycle.
I get that.
But when I think about my relationship, my guy is not necessarily into the church, but I know that he's a God-fearing man.
Of course.
And so, like when I say compartmentalized, to me, it's about when he talks about, as we're getting older, and it's just like, okay, well, if something should happen to me, I want you to do this. And I'm like, I can't do that because I'm not your wife. I can't, if you want me to do something, you got to put it in writing. We need to, have that so I don't have to fight with your family and your, people or whatever. But I feel where you come from.
And this is the thing, Chandra. I was not brought up in church. My ex-husband was. His mother was a minister.
Oh wow.
They had prayer every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. He was deep in church.
Okay.
So I really definitely felt that he should leave because he was brought up in church and I wasn't.
Absolutely.
So I understand that. So that's why I had those expectations because he knew better.
Makes sense.
He knew better. And that's why I had those expectations.
Okay. Well, I just think all those things are possible without marriage. I think when you go into marriage, it's basically like she said, we need to handle some stuff for later. Or it's just like I could do all of this and when we sign the papers to be husband and wife, it's not gonna be no different.
So you don't want to get married?
Sure, I do. For my own personal reasons, but I think once I decide to be with you, before we even think about marriage, I'm gonna try to treat you as much like that as can.
Okay, I get that. I'm never getting married again.
Really?
No.
Most people who have been married and divorced say that.
I'll
never do that again.
No,
Okay.
I won't.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and take my turn. I tried one
You
time.
said you'll take your turn.
I take my time. I tried one time.
What do you? I don't know what's going on.
Do we not, when we were little, all have in our heads that we were gonna have our kids by the same person and get married one time and just live happily ever after?
I did that.
Right. I think we all had that at whatever
Absolutely.
age, and
I
then
did that.
you wake up and then you, I don't know, 2 baby mamas later or something like that. But
I did that, and now
Right.
and should have had 2 baby daddies because this didn't work out for me.
Trust me, that ain't what you want.
Okay, hold on. One more time, Chandra, before we get up out of here, I want you to go ahead and explain your platform again for us. Give us any pertinent information that you may have felt that you left out.
Absolutely. So again, I represent HempWorks. That's HEMPWORX. CBD business. My business name is Sweet Pea CBD. My daddy named me Sweet Pea when I was a baby.
That fits you so perfectly. Was that your poetry name too?
No.
Your poetry
My
name?
poetry name is Sparrow.
That fits you too. I feel like reading your energy. I don't feel like it tonight, but I'm a slight little medium.
Read on. I need all of that.
But go ahead, and I'm sorry.
But aside from the products that I sell and that the business sells, if you are interested in having your own business, you can definitely hit me up at Chandra McIntosh. That's ShandramcIntosh, and on Facebook. You can inbox me, and I will be your guide to helping you to learn about the products. And aside from the products that we got dog treats, we got shampoo, we got tea, coffee.
Tea and coffee.
Yes,
Interesting.
yes.
Interesting.
All types of products. So it's like I said, it's a plethora of products, and I'm here to help. I want to grow. I want to learn. And I want to bring people along with me.
I have a village of autism moms, so we'll definitely go ahead and speak about this. We definitely will.
And I'm going to leave you all with some treats.
Hey, I was hoping so. Once again, thank you again, Chandra. We enjoyed it way more than I thought I would.
Oh, no.
Like these serious topics, people come in, they be really like, and I'm fun and stuff. So I enjoyed you. Thank you for coming on. D, you have anything to say?
I'm just thankful for the information. I think this is something that's gonna help a lot of people. So
once again, happy Thursday. This is Asia on America on IntellectualRadio.com, and we out.
Just breathe.